Stephen A. Smith from ESPN has issued an apology after he did some commentary on the Ray Rice story and domestic violence. Now, for those of you who can remember, and I'm sure a lot of you do, he had made a statement about how women shouldn't provoke domestic violence, and then after he got some heat for it, he kind of failed to articulate exactly what he meant by that. Was he referring to women that talk back to men? Was he referring to women that hit men? It doesn't matter, because now he has come out with his third apology, but this time it's an actual apology. Here's what he had to say. I ventured beyond the scope of our discussion by alluding to a woman's role in such heinous matters, going so far as to use the word provoke in my diatribe. My words came across that it is somehow a woman's fault. This is not my intent. It was not what I was trying to say, yet the failure to clearly articulate something different lies squarely on my shoulders.
Okay, yeah. All right, look, when you got to apologize for the third time, it's super obvious that certainly you didn't mean your apology the first two times, right? Mm-hmm. So, because he just repeated his points when his so-called apologies, that's why he had to do it a third time. Well, I love that he finally did a good apology, and this one's totally fine. If he'd just gone to this like, oh my God, I didn't know, I'm so sorry, right? Mm-hmm. My God, why did I say it like that? It's fine, people make mistakes, right? When you're in the talk show business, I know, right? Things come out like sometimes you don't intend them quite that way. He said it live on the air. But he said this in the past, and his first two apologies were just repetitions of his exact same point. Mm-hmm. So it turns out the good apology came out when ESPN explained their company values to him. Mm-hmm. Oh, see, the company values you not being an ass and talking about domestic violence and excusing it on air. And if you value your contract, you'll come to understand ESPN's values on this, okay? And all of a sudden, it has a come to Jesus moment.
Every once in a while, we'll do a story that will get a response that makes me really question everything. Okay? Humanity. And the reason why I say that is because, I don't know, maybe I'm in a bubble, maybe I'm insulated from these types of men, and if I am insulated from these types of men, it's awesome and I'm grateful for it. But for some reason, people think that it's totally acceptable to retaliate and fight back with violence if, let's say, a woman or a smaller person does provoke them physically, right? So let's say me, and I did a video on this on my personal YouTube channel, and I was still shocked to get the same reaction. I did the video with a guy who's literally 200 pounds. I'm 106 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. And I talked about how if we got into a physical altercation and I so-called provoked him, and let's say I like punched him in the gut or something, right? Should he fight back? And I was shocked to see that there were a number of men that thought, yes, if you punch someone, doesn't matter what your size is, doesn't matter how powerful you are or how weak you are, you deserve to get punched right back. And that is the most immature and cowardly response to something like that. Because as a man who weighs 200 pounds and who is obviously physically stronger than a woman, I think the manly thing to do and the mature thing to do is to push the woman away, get yourself out of the room, and make sure that she faces assault charges for what she did. And by the way, as a man, if you fight back and you beat the shit out of her, what do you think is going to happen to you? The law is going to come down hard on you, and then what do you think the judge is going to say? You think the judge is going to be like, oh, well, this 106-pound woman provoked you, so I'm going to let it go. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. It's amazing how people want to justify fighting violence with violence. And I'm not saying that a woman should ever put her hands on a man, ever, under any circumstance. She should face the consequences by law. But you don't fight back as a physically stronger person because you can literally kill a woman with your bare hands if you're bigger than her.
So now, the guy's not always bigger than the woman. We acknowledge that in the first video, etc. Now, can I talk some sense into you? Do you really believe that?
Good luck.
Okay, forget the male-female part of this. Let's say it's a 7-year-old kid. He punched me in the gut. I'm gonna beat the living crap out of him. I'm gonna break his nose and his jaw.
Well, the argument to that would be, well, it's a kid and kids don't understand. They're irrational. So
let's say it's a 13-year-old kid and it's rational. Let's say it's a 15-year-old, 106-pound kid, okay? Let's say it's a 8, forget it. Let's say it's a 19-year-old that's 106 pounds, okay? It is perfectly rational. And he hits you in the arm, and you're like, oh, okay, time to break this guy's neck, right? I don't know, I don't know, man. Like, really, you feel like if someone is weaker than you and they hit you first, you have every right to break every bone in their body.
A lot of people do believe that, apparently.
No, look, man, I don't care if it's a grown-ass man. I don't care if he's 35. I don't care if he's 45. If I got him off of me, I don't need to keep pounding him, okay? As a person who is stronger, you have some responsibility, if you're a decent person, to not go above and beyond to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't feel that responsibility, and by the way, it also applies to countries, and that's why we get so mad at countries like the US, which doesn't let up on weaker countries. We pound them into oblivion, right? So, and then we got Gaza going on now. Now, where, Israel is pounding Gaza and says, no, they hit me first. They hit me first. Now, whether you agree with that or not, you got now about 800 civilians dead. But no. I have no responsibility as a strong person. Look, if you're a decent person, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I mean, I think about the whole situation with Solange and Jay-Z, right? Can you imagine if Jay-Z handled that situation in a different way and he knocked her out? That would be acceptable? I mean, look at what he did. He defended himself. He didn't let her, beat him or anything like that. And then he walked out, and he should have reported it to the authorities. I mean, Solange should have faced assault charges for what happened, but he didn't press charges, obviously, because that's his wife's sister. But nonetheless, what Solange did was absolutely wrong. His reaction was what a mature person does, someone who recognizes his strength and knows that he can do serious harm to that person. And it goes beyond gender, it goes beyond sex, it goes beyond man versus woman. It's about physical strength. If it's a small man versus a big man, I would make the exact same argument.
Okay, and finally back to Stephen A. Smith. So what did he mean? I mean, he had the easy out of saying, no, I meant she hit him first. That's the provocation. But he never said that, and to this day has not said that, because that's not what he meant. Turns out, in 2012, he said something incredibly similar when Chad Johnson headbutted his wife at the time, okay? And here's what Stephen A. Smith said. He says, look, there are plenty of instances where provocation comes into consideration. Instigation comes into consideration. And I'll be on the record right here on national television and say that I'm sick and tired of men constantly being vilified and accused of things, and we stop there. I'm saying, can we go a step further? Since we want to dig all deeper into Chad Johnson, can we dig in deep to her? There's no allegation that Chad Johnson's wife hit him, okay? Chad Johnson headbutts her. Stephen A. Smith's gut reaction back then and today is, well, she must have had it coming. Let's dig into her. Why did she get headbutted by Chad Johnson? What did she do to deserve it? Why did she provoke him? This is what Stephen A. Smith actually believes, right? Now, if you agree with him, okay, fine. You're an asshole too, okay? But apparently ESPN doesn't agree with him to the point where they think this hurts our brand. Like, if you're a conservative, hey, man, they got all the rights in the world to make as much money as possible. If Stephen A. Smith is costing them money by, alienating a large percentage of their audience, sad day, they're going to have to let him go, right? Right? So that's why all of a sudden Stephen A. Smith sees the point of view of people that have dealt with domestic violence. He even apologized to members of his own family that he had alluded to there, because probably they pulled him aside and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't provoke anybody, you idiot. Okay? That's not how this thing works.